After what feels like an eternity of waiting thanks to the rumor mill, the Los Angeles Gladiators have finally gone out and made it official. Kai will be joining their roster for 2023. For a lot of fans who aren't in the loop, for a while it seemed like this move might not even happen. It got leaked what seems like ages ago. They even picked up Yaki long before they announced Kai, and Kai, as he likes to do before he deactivated his Twitter account, did a bit of trolling by putting retired OWL DPS in his bio. So it kind of sent the wrong messages, I think, to a lot of people, resulting in this confusion and question on whether or not the Glads would even pick up a third DPS. I mean, if you watched my Yaki to Glads video, you'd see it from my point of view. I thought the same thing. I was wondering if Kevster was going to be the starting hit scan like full time, but all those rumors and that speculation can be put to bed, and we can focus on the fact that Kai is here to round out what is a pretty good looking DPS rotation on paper. Kai, Kevster, and Yaki all are, or at least were at some point, elite players, and at their peak, they could be one of the most dangerous trios we have ever seen. This is a pretty good looking setup. You have your true projectile player in Yaki, you have a true dedicated sniper and hit scan in Kai, and then a mega flex like Kevster on top of it to give you as much reassurance as you could really ask for. They can pretty much play in any meta, no problem at all. I wouldn't go as far as saying they're absolutely perfect, but most teams are not, so it's fine. This is a big-time strength of this Glads team, and I like this Kai pickup a lot. I know some people will point towards the somewhat of a fall-off in productivity in the second half of 2022, but I'm willing to say that it was more so just the Reign not playing that well in general as a team during that time, more so than Kai not playing at that, MVP level from the first half of the season that got him into the conversation to begin with. Now, it's not to say that he can't fall off at all. It's very much possible, considering, I can't believe I'm saying this, it's his 4th year in the league. That's a pretty long stock life, which could lead to not being able to keep up with some of these newer hit scan prospects. But Kai is extremely talented. His mechanics are absolutely amazing, and a fresh start did him some good the last time it happened to him. So I think you could expect a lot of the same to happen, potentially. The thing that gives you confidence about Kai is he's so reliable and so consistent. He has deadly accuracy on snipers. He's always been extremely sound mechanically. He's prone to those big pop-off moments in extremely important situations. So even if he doesn't necessarily play at that 2020 Rookie of the Year level or first half of 2022 level, there's reason to believe that he could still be a good contributor for the Glads. This trio provides good balance, but also something that people are failing to consider is that Kevster's going to have a wingman, so to speak, usually at all times again, just like last year when they had Patty Pan. You could see the difference in play when the Glads had Patty on there during the first half of the year, and after he left to go pursue professional Valorant again. There is a pretty notable difference in how they played because there is more pressure on Kevster to perform. By making things easier on Kevster and giving him more star power to work with, it not only makes him play better, but it changes your team dynamic in general. So good on the Glads for picking up a third option and not just sticking with 2. Kai being here is only going to help them. The only thing I'm questioning now is how does this affect Yaki's dynamic within the roster? While he surely has his uses, by putting Kai in there, it makes it a lot less likely he's going to start consistently, as if you have that dedicated hit scan, then you'd have to assume that Kevster is going to be your super flex again, and if that's the case, you would much rather have Kevster in the game than Yaki. Now, he's a shoo-in if there's any sort of dive composition being played, as he's a pretty nasty Genji and Tracer player, and Kai's never been much of a Tracer guy himself, and Kevster Yaki in a Tracer Genji meta sounds like it could go pretty hard. So that's a situation where he's definitely viable. And of course, if you want to play him on the Echo, I could see that as well. But it's beyond that where things are a little questionable, and I'm curious to see what Yaki's use will be overall. Could it be a Mei guy? Perhaps Reaper, since we know Kevster isn't that great on it? Right now, things feel a little cloudy. The vision, if you will, just isn't totally there for me. And you never know, the same thing could apply to Kai. It's really hard to say for sure. But what I like is everyone's going to have their role. Kai is your sniper. He'll play Sojourn, he'll play Cass, he'll play Ashe, Widow, whatever the heck you need, he'll be great on that. And he could combo with either one of these guys, no problem. He won't get in their way. What I really like is by adding Kai, Kevster can focus a lot more on the stuff that he is the best at, which in turn could only make him an even scarier player. Due to all of the star power and the versatility the Gladiators are rocking with at the damage roll, this gives the coaching staff a lot of room to strategize and not have to worry too much about map type or what's good to play in compositions, because they have what they need regardless at the damage roll to carry them to victory. Just because of the name and stature of these guys, how far the Gladiators go this year seems like it will largely depend on how hard these three DPS players can carry. The question marks and concerns that I have for their DPS line are pretty minimal. It's not really that big of a deal. It's the other positions that are a bit more questionable that really draw your eyes. DPS is fine. They are in a really good spot. With Kai joining the roster, this appears to be the Gladiators' finalized roster, at least for the foreseeable future. Joining that DPS line is Dante as the one and only tank, plus Lastro, Funny Astro, and Babel on support. Regardless of if Kai is considered to be an upgrade, it might not help the Gladiators all that much from an overall point of view. They're still a decent team for sure, they're respectable, they'll win a decent bit of games, but they don't feel elite like they were the last couple of seasons, and generally, even with a couple of decent pickups here and there, they still did kind of downgrade their team. I'm of course hoping to be wrong, cause they do have a lot of likable players that are extremely talented, but just compared to what they're dealing with in the West, that's kind of where I stand with them, at least for right now. And that essentially wraps up my thoughts on Kai joining the LA Gladiators. But before we finish for the day, just some other breaking news to briefly touch upon. The London Spitfire have officially re-signed Sparker for 2023. It doesn't seem like significant news, as some people probably forgot, but Sparker technically was a free agent, and there was a possibility that he would have left the Spitfire for a different opportunity. He was exploring his options for quite a bit this offseason. It took a long time for the Spitfire to bring him back officially. Regardless, it's good that London were able to strike a deal with him, as they're just a worse team without him. Some people might go as far as saying that Sparker was their best player last year, or at least one of their most important. Consistency-wise, he was top-notch, and he's shown a tremendous amount of improvement since his rookie season. And it was just hard to see him going anywhere else. He feels like somebody who belongs on London, thanks to him being part of the heart and soul of what made them what they were, and having a great friendship with a lot of the players on that team. Sparker's just someone you had to have on here. Sparker's a pretty awesome player, and with him rejoining London, they feel whole again, and it'll be fun to see how they can follow up on what was a really surprising year in 2022. But if that wasn't a big enough W on its own, if you're a London fan, you should feel pretty excited for the near future, as supposedly there is at least one other move in the works, so keep your eyes peeled in that regard. Aside from that, that's pretty much all I have to say on Sparker rejoining the Spitfire. There's not much to talk about, since it's not like he joined a new team or anything. He's going back to the same old, but it's still good news nonetheless that I wanted to share with Spitfire fans out there, as he was someone who you potentially could have lost. Let me know your feelings about all of this down in the comments below, Spitfire fans, and of course, give me your thoughts on Kai joining the LA Gladiators. Will they be better than we think, or is this just an okay move that doesn't really change their situation? I'd love to hear your opinions on this. And of course, if you enjoyed this news video, and you want to stay up to date with all things Overwatch League related, give this video a like, and subscribe to this channel if you're new so you don't miss out on any of my newest videos. And until next time, this is ATP, signing out. Peace.